You're watching The Shift Asia. I'm Frida Liu, and the show is where we explore how leaders, innovators, and change makers are shaping a more sustainable and future-ready Asia. Today, we're joined by a distinguished guest who represents a nation globally admired for its leadership in sustainability, innovation, and progressive governance. His Excellency Niklas Wiberg, the Ambassador of Sweden to Malaysia. Sweden's global platform, Pioneer the Possible, and the work of Business Sweden reflect a powerful commitment to transforming ambition into action, particularly in areas like green technology, circular economy, and climate-smart industries. Ambassador, it's a pleasure to have you with us. So welcome to The Shift Asia. And maybe let's just start with, this relationship that we have, Sweden and Malaysia. How would you describe the current state of Sweden-Malaysia relations, particularly in the areas of sustainability and economic collaboration?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure, and I'll be happy to speak about our relations with Malaysia. But one of my favorite topics of being ambassador here in Malaysia is certainly sustainability and the way we can cooperate for a better future together. So I'm happy to share some reflections on that.
Right.
Just for your information, Malaysia is one of the key trading partners for Sweden in Southeast Asia. Right. In 2024, we recorded a record high volume of trade amounting to $720 million. Right. In items such as machinery, electric equipment, vehicles, pharmaceutical products. We have a large presence of companies here in Malaysia. There are over 100 at the moment and growing. They're in diverse sectors, ranging from technology, retail, to industrial solutions. I think it's important also to highlight that many of these companies have been here since Malaysia's independence.
Wow.
Have deep-rooted economic and political ties with Malaysia. Right. They're here because Malaysia is seen as a strategic manufacturing base, leveraging skilled workforce and cost efficiency. So you have well-known companies such as Volvo Cars, Volvo Trucks, Volvo Bus, SKF, IKEA, Ericsson, Atlas Copco, ABB, Scania, and they have all production and their centers here in Malaysia. As of 2024, Sweden has invested in 97 manufacturing projects in Malaysia worth over 7 billion ringgit, right. Creating 6,000 jobs, so a substantial employer also in Malaysia. But just bridging to the topic of today and the green transition, it's important to note that both Sweden and nowadays Malaysia has ambitious climate goals, right. Where Malaysia, as you know, has a climate carbon neutrality target by 2050. We have it slightly earlier by 2045. Right. But it lies the foundation for a strong collaboration on green growth and innovation, focusing on practical solutions, including energy transition, green mobility, digitalization for sustainability, and climate-related research.
Right. What's interesting, I didn't realize the relations has been around since independence. That was one thing, and I didn't realize there's over 100 companies. You know the familiar ones, we all know the familiar ones in the B2C space. So it's interesting to note that. Now, Sweden is often seen as a global benchmark for climate action and innovation. What do you think Malaysia can learn most from the Swedish model, and vice versa?
Yes, it's an interesting question, and it's something we are looking more and more into because we've noted a great interest from the Malaysian side. Right. I don't know if you're aware, but Sweden is actually the number 2 in the world when it comes to innovation. Right. We always score very high on innovation. Right. And it's particularly interesting from a small country. Sweden has 10 million. A population of 10 million, but apparently we did something right. Yes. on that field. So on innovation, it's difficult to translate from one culture to another. But we can look at some factors that have worked in our favor. Right. We have a transparent country, but also culture. Right. That in the legal sense, but also a culture that allows for free flowing of information. Right. A focus on education. And open collaboration where innovation can spur further progress. We're also extremely open market where everybody competes on the same ground. So there's not any discrimination to any nationalities, or everybody has the same chances, which spurs further progress and innovation in the market economy. I would also on this on what can be further advanced between Malaysia and Sweden. We do believe that climate action is a point where we can see more collaboration and where we can learn from each other. There is a natural interest on climate change in Sweden, since we're people that spend a lot of our time outdoors, in schools, and in doing sports or just enjoying hiking. Since very early, the first conference on environmental issues was actually in Stockholm, 1974. There's been a push for environmental policies, and the political system has led the way also for the private sector to be very engaged in the issues, supporting the green transition. For Malaysia, I think it's important to be following up on its national plans and to break the dependence on fossil fuels that's very evident in this country.
But this is a conversation that has happened since 1974, so you're a little bit ahead of us in that conversation. Now, I've done a bit of work with Business Sweden, right? And one of the things is that the tagline, "Pioneer the Possible," right? And it's more than a tagline, it's a philosophy. Now, what does this concept mean in practice for Sweden's engagement in Asia and Malaysia specifically? And maybe you can share examples of how this vision is being translated into real initiatives or partnerships on the ground.
Sure. Pioneer the Possible is a concept that was developed together with Business Sweden and the Embassy of Sweden, and also on the national level. The initiative focus in Malaysia. The initiative focuses on fostering collaboration between Swedish companies and Malaysian stakeholders within the green transition. So it's essentially about knowledge sharing and joint projects for the sustainability agenda, while opening up opportunities for businesses from both sides to prosper. Well, a few of the examples that we've been working on so far and we also established is the Memorandum of Understanding with the MGTC, which is the Malaysian Green Technology and Climate Change Corporation, and also substantial collaborations with ministries and industry bodies like MOT, MITI, NRES, FMM, all the stakeholders in Malaysia that can lead the way to clear rollout of the green transition. We also have projects that are led by the industry in Swedish companies present in Malaysia. As examples, Volvo and Scania are introducing electric and hybrid vehicles. Atlas Copco, SKF, and Alfa Laval are advancing in energy-efficient industrial solutions to save energy. IKEA, who most Malaysians are well acquainted with, are focusing on renewable energy in its operations everywhere. You also have partners like Ericsson, which have been a key partner for DNB in the rollout of the 5G, can also play a role in digitalization of the green transition. So this engagement is a diverse set of industries supporting one another. On electric vehicles, it's clear that we're not only producing cars but also heavy vehicles, and there is a lot to be gained from larger companies working with the government to set up the grid and charging technology all over the country.
And so you were talking about Business Sweden, and they play a key role in enabling Swedish companies to expand globally. How is it supporting Swedish businesses seeking sustainable opportunities in Malaysia?
I think it's important to look at the issue strategically. The Business Sweden, as well as the embassy, positions Sweden as a leader in green technology and sustainable development to attract and create opportunities for Swedish company present or right now or in the future in Malaysia. There are a number of areas where we see that progress can be made, such as sustainable production, energy efficiency, e-mobility, and circularity in all its forms. All of these areas we believe are critical to Malaysia's green transition. By leveraging this strength, Swedish companies can introduce innovative solutions that align well with Malaysia's sustainability agenda, but at the same time fostering partnerships and collaboration with the maturing Malaysian society in this aspect.
And in which sectors are you seeing the strongest momentum for Swedish Malaysian collaboration?
At the moment, we see a strong momentum in sectors such as energy, mobility, and digitalization, where Swedish expertise align well with the Malaysia's sustainability and innovation goals. There are specific areas like renewable energy solutions, electrification of transport, digital technologies that enable efficiency and connectivity at the same time. Perhaps the most clear example is the one we've seen with Ericsson collaborating through DNB and with DNB as one of the best 5G networks in the world at the record speed. We are seeing that a lot of countries are looking at Malaysia as an interesting example and are seeing how digital infrastructure can be built when the 5G network is also being rolled out very quickly and covering most of the country.
Right, okay. And as you mentioned earlier on, Your Excellency, that Sweden has committed to becoming net zero by 2045. Right? How does diplomacy intersect with sustainability in achieving such ambitious goals?
This is a key question, I think, not only for Sweden and Malaysia, but in many countries of the world. And we just come out of the meeting, climate negotiations in Brazil,
right.
Where the result, unfortunately, was mixed.
Okay.
But to look at on the positive sides of this, Sweden has come a long way. The electric grid is totally carbon-free. Many of our homes fulfill the highest standards of energy efficiency, and we are progressing quickly within decarbonization transportation. We have dedicated a lot of research and resources to produce carbon-free steel. That would be an area very interesting to bring to Malaysia, which since the industry is a big source for carbon emissions, but also we can also at the same time collaborate between the two countries to cut emissions quicker by looking at this industry. One other area where we can collaborate together, which also been highlighted in the climate negotiations, is the Article 6 of the Paris Agreement, which allows for the countries voluntarily to cooperate on their respective mitigation targets. The idea is that for emission reductions to be distributed and better utilized by cooperating and transfer between the countries as an opportunity to reduce emissions in cost-effective way, since mitigation can be performed where the costs are lower.
Right.
So we see this as an opportunity.
Right, okay. And I guess how can governments and businesses collaborate more effectively to accelerate the green transition beyond Malaysia, in Southeast Asia?
I think we can take what we've achieved so far in Malaysia and bring it to other countries in the region where progress is uneven, by working together to create clear policy frameworks, incentives, collaborative platforms. Governments can set the vision of enabling regulations, while businesses can bring innovation, technology, and investment to scale solutions.
Right.
Public-private partnerships are essential to drive progress in sectors like energy, mobility, and digitalization. So government and businesses need to work hand in hand, and I think we're seeing a greater interest for these policies in Southeast Asia in general.
Right.
I'd also like to highlight the multinational corporations have a very clear target on what needs to be pursued, where progress needs to be made. Many of them have 2030 as a target for net zero. And this is something that we see also from the Swedish companies present in Malaysia, that they need to report to their boards in Sweden that they're achieving net zero by 2030.
Right.
So this is actually speeding up, from a business perspective, the green transition.
Right. I was conversations, with the folks at Business Sweden and also with yourself, right? Swedish companies are known for balancing profitability with purpose. And it's sometimes not very easy, right? So what mindset shift do you believe regional businesses, Malaysian businesses, must adopt to stay competitive and responsible? Because it's not easy. Right?
That's a very relevant question, and it seems to be an endless debate.
Yes.
And we try to not focus on any conflict between the two, but to see that they're mutually reinforcing. In the end, any business must be profitable.
Right.
But it's also fair to say that many Swedish businesses have found a way to see that there's a profit in purpose.
Right.
Environmental and sustainable thinking and policies are usually on how you plan to manage resources. For example, when you lower your electric bill with the purpose of leading to lower CO2 emissions, you are in a way contributing to a better energy mix.
Right.
And that's something that can be very beneficial to you as a private consumer, but also to society.
Right.
And it's about changing the mindset
Right.
and creating incentive both for the private consumers, but also for the companies.
What was it? You said profitability in purpose. And I think like even in the early days in Sweden, trying to incorporate this was also faced with, I guess, a resistance as always, right? And that has taken time to be adopted. That has taken time for mindsets to change as well, right? Yeah. Are there any current or upcoming Swedish initiatives or collaborations in Malaysia that reflect the spirit of pioneering the possible?
Yes, this is a theme we've been working on for several years, and we continue to see that it is a collaboration that bears fruit and a concept that's gaining ground here in Malaysia. We recently concluded the Innovation-Led Green Digital Transition Forum, where we brought together industry leaders and government stakeholders to explore sustainable solutions. Looking ahead, we are planning for sustainable roundtables on data centers, where I believe that there is a great need to look into more concrete measures. This will be led by Team Sweden in collaboration with MASBA. We are also looking at transferring the extensive experience in building energy efficient and smart and climate smart data centers in Sweden, as an example for Malaysia, and in general contribute to knowledge sharing in order to better support this rapidly growing sector.
And I know Your Excellency as a diplomat representing Sweden and Malaysia. So what does leadership mean to you in today's uncertain and climate-challenged world?
I would say that the issues we just discussed and the common challenges that we face, Sweden and Malaysia, but also globally, are of course issues of great concern, but also where many of the opportunities lies.
Right.
So we, from Sweden, we believe that there's a scope for greater collaboration within support for a rules-based international order, acting together on the basis of science, and combating, and of course not in any way questioning climate change as a concept. I'm saying this because it's been mentioned by some countries in the world, and unfortunately that this is an area of dispute nowadays. But since I believe that both Sweden and Malaysia are clear countries that base their politics and their policies on science. I'm not too worried about that. And then it's more about how we together can implement the green transition and make it as cost efficient and as manageable as possible.
Right. And if you could leave our audience with one key message about Sweden's approach to innovation and sustainability, what would that be?
I think that would be that we can reach further if we work together. Since the challenges are cross-sectoral and transnational by nature, the only way we can approach it is to work together. Since there is a clear commitment, both people to people, but also government to government, industry to industry, on a more sustainable world, there's a great interest from Malaysia on innovation, not least green transition. We believe by working together with the many companies here who can prove that they have adopted green solutions and innovative ideas, we can spur further collaboration between Malaysia and Sweden, not least within the green growth and innovation field.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, Ambassador. Thank you for sharing your insights and for giving us a deeper look into how Sweden is truly pioneering what's possible, not just in words, but through meaningful partnerships and long-term vision. You've been watching The Shift Asia.